Antibiotics are among the most overprescribed and overused medications in modern medicine. And while they have their place, the reality is they come with significant consequences, not just for your gut health, but for your overall physical and mental well being. Welcome to Follow Your Gut. I'm your host, Juniper. If you found yourself here, it means you're ready to unlock the happiest and healthiest version of yourself and step into your role as the most confident leader of your family's wellness. Together, we'll navigate the path to optimal health and vitality. Let's dive in and transform your life. Jumping right into this conversation. Back in episode 135, From Pregnancy to Parenthood, the Microbiome's Impact with Dr. Elisa Song, she and I discussed a massive study that followed over 790,000 children. It found that those who received antibiotics in their first year of life, including the mama taking antibiotics while pregnant, had a dramatically increased risk of developing eczema, asthma, allergies, celiac disease, obesity, and ADHD by the time they reached school age. So that's considered 5 in the US. And the more antibiotics the child received, the higher their risk. This isn't a coincidence. Antibiotics don't just target infections. They wipe out your delicate, good gut microbiome, which is responsible for training the immune system, regulating your metabolism, and even shaping neurological development. And the consequences extend far beyond just the physical. Another large-scale study found that children who were given antibiotics before the age of 5 were significantly more likely to develop mental health disorders later in life, including anxiety, depression, and behavioral issues. This is because the gut microbiome plays a critical role in neurotransmitter production. When antibiotics disrupt that balance, it directly impacts brain chemistry, emotional regulation, and cognitive function. Well-known and loved Dr. Zach Bush has spoken extensively about the profound impacts of antibiotic use on mental health, particularly in women. He points out that just one course of antibiotics increases a woman's risk of major depression by 25% within the following year. And if she has to take a second course of antibiotics within that same year, her risk jumps to 60%. This alarming connection really highlights just how much the gut microbiome influences not only our immune and metabolic functions, but also our emotional and cognitive well-being. Antibiotics are not just a temporary intervention. They leave a lasting imprint on the body, altering the microbiome in ways that ripple through every single system in our body. This is why rebalancing isn't just about healing after antibiotics. It's about breaking the cycle so you or your children don't find yourselves needing them in the first place. A well-balanced microbiome is the foundation of a strong immune system. It prevents infections before they can take hold, keeping pathogenic bacteria, yeast, and viruses from overgrowing. When the gut is strong and healthy, the body is naturally more resilient, meaning those recurrent ear infections, sinus infections, UTIs, and cases of strep throat become far less common. But if the microbiome is disrupted, the body's defenses are weakened, leading to chronic inflammation, increased susceptibility to illness, and a greater dependence on medical interventions like antibiotics. Do you see this cycle? I know firsthand how terrifying it can feel when you or your child is sick and antibiotics are presented as the only option. When my daughter was just 3 months old, she got RSV and a double ear infection. As a new mama, I was desperate for guidance, and the pediatrician told me flat out that she needed antibiotics immediately, and if I didn't give them to her, her ears could rupture. I felt so stuck. Intuitively, giving her antibiotics, especially at such a young age, didn't feel right. But at the same time, The thought of risking her hearing or her health was unbearable. So I gave her one dose of the antibiotics, and then I saw blood in her next poop. The mama bear in me came alive in that moment. I knew deep in my core that I could not give her the next dose. I called one of my dearest friends, someone who at the time she was so much deeper into her motherhood journey and so much wiser than I was. She told me so confidently that there was a different way. She recommended mullein garlic eardrops and liquid silver. I ran to the health food store. I got everything she suggested. And by the time we went to my daughter's follow up appointment 2 days later, her ears were fully healed. If you are in this situation right now, if you or your child have an ear infection, I have a whole podcast episode on this. I'll link it in the show notes for you. It's really short, straight to the point, and guides you so you know exactly what to do, how to heal the ears without needing antibiotics. That experience changed everything for me. It opened my eyes up to how often antibiotics are overprescribed and how they aren't always the only answer. It also made me realize how powerful our bodies are when they're given the right support. I cannot imagine what would have happened to my daughter's systems had I continued giving her those antibiotics, and how devastating that is, knowing that there is an alternative that actually supported her body in healing itself rather than disrupting the very foundation of her body. This is why rebalancing is so important. It's not just about restoring the gut after antibiotics. It's about making sure you don't need them in the first place or you don't need them again. By clearing out harmful overgrowths, replenishing beneficial bacteria, and strengthening your gut lining, rebalancing supports your immune system in fighting off infections before they require intervention like antibiotics. But what if you or your child, maybe you're already rebalancing and suddenly you are in a situation where you need antibiotics? What should you do? Maybe it's a UTI, maybe it's mastitis, a sinus infection, or an ear infection, something that's reached the point where antibiotics feel necessary. If that's the case, I really encourage you to lean into the resources available to you here. In the course that came free with your gut rebalance kit, there's an entire symptom specific section to teach you how to intervene early and how to use cleanse in place of antibiotics. If you have the rebalance kit, you have everything you need to avoid needing antibiotics 99% of the time. There is no judgment here, though. Sometimes antibiotics are necessary, and you always know what's best for you and your family. You have to sit with this. You have to make a very intentional decision that aligns with your intuition. Am I going to fully trust in these rebalancing products and trust that they are going to heal this infection? Or do I really, really know that antibiotics are necessary? And if that's the case, it is okay. But knowing how to avoid them whenever possible gives you the power to protect your microbiome in a way that will benefit your health long term. If you or your child end up taking antibiotics, you will want to pause your rebalance during the course of the treatment. The antibiotics, there isn't any negative interaction, but the antibiotics will negate the effects of the supplements. So continuing them is honestly just a waste. But the day after you finish your last dose of antibiotics, you will want to restart your rebalance at the super start dose and commit to your rebalance for a minimum of 64 consecutive days, starting again the day after you finish your course of antibiotics. If you have been stuck in a cycle of antibiotics and reoccurring infections, this is your invitation to break free. Whether you've just finished a round or you're ready to take charge of your health before the next infection hits, rebalancing restores your microbiome so your body can work the way that it was designed to. If you have taken several rounds of antibiotics or if you have a history of reoccurring infections, this indicates that your gut is deeply imbalanced. In this case, you will want to subscribe to the Woman's, Men's, or Children's Gut Rebalance Kit and plan on committing to a few back-to-back cycles. This is okay. Your healing timeline is absolutely beautifully unique to you, and the process is so amazing. True healing isn't about quick fixes. It's about restoring balance at the root of your body so you can actually thrive and heal. The gut isn't just the center of digestion. It's the center of everything. Your immune system, metabolism, brain health, hormonal balance, all depends on a strong, thriving microbiome. This is why foundational healing matters so much. It's not just about recovering from antibiotics. It's about making sure you don't need them in the first place. Going back to my own story really quick, 14 years and 3 more kids later, not a single person in my family has needed antibiotics since we learned about this foundational healing, since I gave my daughter that 1 dose of antibiotics and saw blood in her stool. This healing is so powerful, and it is an absolute honor to share it with you. Thank you for joining me in today's episode of Follow Your Gut. If we don't know each other, I'm Juniper Bennett. I'm a homeschooling mama to my 4 children, a dedicated microbiome specialist, certified family health coach, author of the Microbiome Cookbook, and the founder of Only Organics, a supplement and education brand focused on women and children's gut health. Make sure to subscribe to the Nourished newsletter so you never miss an episode. Along with everything else mentioned in today's episode, there is a link for you to subscribe right below in the show notes. Lastly, it's important for you to know that the information shared on this podcast is based on my personal experiences and research. Please always trust your own inner voice of wisdom and your healthcare professional. Until next time.